In this tutorial, you will learn about the array object in Java. You will learn how to create an array object. You will learn how to access elements of an array. You will learn how to pass arrays as parameters to methods. You will learn how to initialize the cells of an array, and you will learn how to copy the contents of one array to another. Think of an array like a column in an Excel spreadsheet. In this example, the columns A, B, and C represent arrays. To access a cell or element within the column, we use the column name and the row number. This is cell A4 and this is B2. Data within the column is of the same type. The same is true about arrays in Java. Using column B, let's create the same array in Java. Arrays are objects in Java, and as with all objects, we store the address to the object in a reference variable. This statement creates a reference variable B of type int array. The new command is used to create the actual array object. Within the square brackets, we specify the length of the array or the number of cells. Cells are also called elements of the array. Cells are numbered starting at 0. Therefore, the last cell index will always be length minus 1. The address to the array is placed in B. Cells, or elements, are used just like all of the variables we have learned so far. We are using new syntax to include the cell number within the square brackets when we want to use an array variable. This statement assigns the value 90 to cell 0 in array B. The name of the variable is B sub 0. We can use this integer cell as we would with any int variable. This statement takes the contents of B sub 0 and adds 4. The result is assigned to B sub 1. This statement creates an integer variable I and initializes it to 2. This statement assigns the value 55 to B sub 2 since I contains 2. Let's look at the array syntax in more detail. To create an array object, the type of the reference variable will be the type of variable stored in the array followed by the square brackets. If we want to store a list of integers, the type will be int bracket bracket read int array. If we want to store a list of string objects, the type will be string bracket bracket or string array. The type of the array can be any of the Java primitive types or object reference types. The type is followed by the reference variable name of the array. The new command is used to create the array object, followed by the type of the array, an open square bracket, the number of cells the array will contain, and the closed square bracket. The array will have length, number of cells indexed 0 through length minus 1. The cells of the array will get a default value depending on the array type. Cells of int arrays get 0 and arrays of objects get null. The default values are the same as regular variables. Like we said, arrays are objects. Array objects contain only one instance variable, length, which stores the number of cells in the array. Array objects do not have any methods. Once an array is created, it cannot grow or shrink. This statement creates an array object reference variable named price of type double array. The array object of length 3 is created and the address is placed into price. This statement creates an int variable x and assigns the value stored in the price array length variable. Notice length is an instance variable in the object, not a method, so we don't use the open-close parentheses to access the contents. X contains the value 3. This statement tries to assign the value 3.4 to cell 3 of the price array. This causes an error because for an array length of 3, the last index will be 3 minus 1 or 2. This statement will subtract 1 from the length variable in the price array and assign the result to an int variable called last cell. Last cell contains 2. 3.4 is now assigned to cell 2 of the price array. Array objects can be created and initialized all in the same statement. This statement creates an int array reference variable named nums and initializes the cells to 10, 32, 43, -20, and 0. You do not need to use the new command or specify the number of cells the array will contain. Java counts up the number in the list and automatically creates the array with the correct length. This statement assigns the value -5 to cell 3 of the nums array. As with any object, the address to the object can be passed as a parameter to a method. For array objects, be sure to create a parameter reference variable of the type of array being passed. In this example, an array object nums of type intArray is created and initialized. The address to the array is passed to the processGrades method into the intArray variable n. Remember, since nums and n now contain the same address, they are pointing to the same array. Any changes made to array n in the method will change the original array nums. This statement adds 1 to cell 0 of the n array, which of course changes the nums array since it is the same array. This statement adds 5 to the contents of cell 0 and stores the result into cell 1. Again, the nums array is also changed since it's the same array. To copy the contents of the cells from one array to another, you must copy each cell individually. Copying the reference variable will only make the two variables point to the same array. For example, nums1 is created with these 3 cells. nums2 is created and each cell is initialized to 0. If I try to copy nums1 into nums2 by using this syntax, I'm actually copying the address to the first array into the reference variable of the second array. nums1 and nums2 now contain the same address and are pointing to the same array. This is a logic error. Garbage collector will remove the original nums2 array from memory. To copy contents, copy each cell one by one from the first array to the second array. Copy the contents of cell 0 from nums1 into cell 0 of nums2. In this tutorial, you learned about the array object in Java. You learned the syntax on how to create an array object. You learned how to access elements of an array. You learned how to use initialization lists to create and fill an array in one statement. You learned when arrays are passed to methods, a copy of the address to the original array is passed, and any changes made in the method will change the original array. And you learned how to copy the contents of one array to another.